good and what's bad. I don't know, but this is a bad start, gentlemen. Welcome back to Stay Tuned. I'm Tony Angelo. We just got back from the most epic thrash at Drag Week. We took my 55 out, running street miles in Pennsylvania, hit a bunch of drag strips. It was absolutely epic. We were completely smoked when we got back, and we're kind of recovering right now. It's been a lot of picking up the pieces of that week. We're cleaning our trailer out. It was super gnarly. It was full of tools and everything. All that stuff's getting put away. Declan is scrubbing that thing down now. Those epic Drag Week episodes will come out starting next week, but it's time for a whole new adventure. So we have brought back in my 89 Aston Martin V12 swapped Mustang. Before Barb left, the idea was we'll tear into this thing and see what went wrong on the dyno. The motor is making a terrible sound. Honestly, the whole drivetrain was making a bunch of terrible sounds, and we don't know what it is. So we may dig into that thing, but he's gone. I kind of want to do something new. Now, one of the reasons I maybe want to get on the road and go pick up a fresh product is that I just got my 2014 Ram back. We smoked a deer in this thing about a month ago, and it caused all sorts of damage, not to the frame or anything serious, but the whole front end of this thing got wiped out. 2 radiators, the intercooler, the AC condenser, and an oil cooler all annihilated. Went to a local body shop. They fought with the insurance company for a little bit, you know, just adjusted this and that, bumped the estimate up and up and up. And it came back, and they were like, we're gonna get it fixed and get rocking. So as it started last week, they told us that as we left for Drag Week. We're gonna get it all dialed. I also chose to come out of pocket for a couple upgrades. I got a chrome grille, I got chrome front and rear bumper, and the rear taillight fixed. So this thing is super, super minty now, and they did such a nice job. It looks like $1 million. So what I wouldn't mind doing is hopping in here, cruising for a couple hours, and seeing if we can pick up a couple things. We've got a couple lines in the water on Marketplace right now. So we'll probably go out and grab some lunch and see if we can come up with anything. And if not, we'll just jump into that V12. All right, well, while we were at lunch, we found some pretty decent cars, but the one I really wanted got back to us. Found me a 2nd gen Firebird, around 4,000 bucks. It doesn't run. The motor spin's free. We're gonna head out now about 2 hours west and see if we can get our hands on this thing and get an idea if it's a good buy or not. There's a few things to look out for. We're gonna look at it, hopefully try to make a decent decision and hit the road. But obviously, my ADD is running wild. Barb's gone. We got a new truck that's looking clean. We're gonna hit the road. One quick thing that just showed up, which is awesome before we hit the road, because it's getting a little bit chilly now. We're into the fall in Pennsylvania, and we're talking about Brunt Workwear. Brunt is a sponsor of this video and a ton of our other ones because we love the company. We wear their stuff constantly. I'm gonna talk about the sweatshirt I'm about to throw on. That's gonna warm me up, but I am gonna be basically head to toe in Brunt. These are my Oman boots. I wear them constantly. There's almost no break-in, super comfortable, and they've been super durable. I spent all of Drag Week in 2 different pair of Brunt pants because they're super lightweight and super comfortable. There's not much more I could say about this company. The stuff they make is awesome. I think it looks killer, and just pulling this out, it feels thick and warm. The Chevlin hoodie, it's got like a 1/4 zip to it. It's wicked. If you look around, man, we're all rocking this stuff for real because we really do like it. It's super awesome workwear, and you know, it's just so durable. So I'm gonna throw this on. We're gonna hit the road. You can go to bruntworkwear.com/staytuned10 right now and get $10 off your first order of $60 or more. I've used this stuff on my motorcycle, running around town. It's awesome. And if for some reason you don't like it, they will take it back, which is cool. It's just, they know, they stand behind their product, and they know it's good stuff. So go out, get on the website, and get some Brunt stuff. All right, I hit the road, I grabbed cash, we stopped by the shop for a minute. I just wanted, and then we hit the road, we stopped to get diesel and get out west of us, about 2 hours, look at this Firebird. And I started getting a coolant light. We'd said it smelled alcohol when we were loading up the trailer, and now it's pretty clear. We're leaking coolant pretty bad. I can smell it. It's a pretty solid stream. Doesn't feel like there's much in the tubes here. Again, this thing's just been repaired. It just got back from the body shop. The deer hit every cooler. There's 2 radiators on this thing, so it hit them both. And an oil cooler and AC condenser and maybe power steering, so just everything. But we're definitely losing coolant. I can smell it, I can see it. It's here on top of the air box, so it must be hitting the fan and getting thrown around.
Try to look at that water pump.
Oh, was this? I don't think this was all exploded when you picked it up.
No?
No.
Did you look at it?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. Kuhn said, oh, I can see the radiator is smacked. You can see it back here. Somehow the back of the radiator is cut up. The shroud is all gnarled. Maybe something loose, my guess. It picked something up and threw it, or the fan broke. You know, clearly we're not gonna make it 180 miles to go pick this thing up. That's a bummer. I do believe this is like a real reputable body shop. The deer hit hard enough to knock this body rail up here. This is not the frame rail, this is just part of the body. It's sort of like the fender rail. They chopped it, they sectioned it, they changed it. It wound up being like over $10,000 worth of damage just from some deer blasting out into the front of this thing. And I know that they replaced absolutely everything here. They negotiated with the company to make sure we got all new coolers, all these different things, and it all looks fine. It's just something came loose, blasted into that radiator, and now we are barely gonna be able to limp it back to the shop. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna hit up the body shop and see what they say. What a bummer.
Yeah.
All right. Deer, man. We're gonna hit the road before somebody hits this thing the way our luck is going, and we're kind of crammed in a Wawa parking lot. I think we're not far from the shop. We should be able to get back without overheating it. So like I said, we're just so excited to dig into this V12 Mustang and see what's wrong with it. I've got the truck dropped back off at the body shop, so we're not trailering anything. And we're here, and we want to know what happened to this thing at the dyno. Now, this is a 5.9 liter Aston Martin V12 from like a 2000 or so DB7, I believe, and a couple other cars. Should make around 420 horsepower. We've got it crammed in with a QuickTime bell housing and a T56 Magnum into my Fox body Mustang, just to catch you guys up back up to speed. And a couple things were happening at the dyno. It was making 340, 350 wheel horsepower, I think, and it started making some noise. We're getting this puppy up on the lift. I got this motor from Mike Knapp, who owns E-Town, Raceway Park. His dad had been given it by Ford, who owned Aston at the time. I really didn't want to have to replace this thing, and I was just absolutely heartbroken when it did start making noise on the dyno. Was it our fault? I don't know. We were trying to thrash, quick tune it, and get a number. We didn't have it charging it by itself. We didn't have it staying cool. All the stuff you don't want to do at the dyno, we did all of it. So, untested, the clutch wasn't broken in. Just worst case scenario and total YouTube mentality of try to get the highest number you can and turn it off and, you know, try to save it, but didn't go that way. Send her up. When I was standing at the dyno, I was kind of over top of the car, listening to the top end motor noise, and I got a million comments, and I appreciate all you guys and gals digging in and seeing what I'm not seeing and saying, there are sparks coming out of the clutch. You should look at that. So I did go back and look, and sure enough, this thing is chugging and eating itself up and spewing out sparks while it's running. Now, it's an organic clutch, which the guys at Center Force kind of insisted on. They made us this whole custom flywheel to T56 from the V12 sort of setup. Did we have time to break it in gingerly for 250 miles? Of course not. That's just not how things go here. The car is barely legal. It's barely running. We didn't have a decent tune on it, so and we didn't have the time. So none of that happened. We're gonna pull it out and see how bad it is, but sometimes if clutch destruction is bad enough, it can swing around in the bell housing, it can make all sorts of sounds, it can be bad news. So that's the first thing we're gonna dig into and see what's what. I am excited for drag week videos to come out. It was epic. It was both somehow like being on the road for 4 weeks, and also a complete blur by the time I collapsed on my couch on Friday night. There's nothing like it. All of a sudden you go from going, I think this car would probably get down the road under its own power, to road trip cruising it. I went from being like, what's gonna happen, to waking up in the morning and being like, hop in the car, fire it up, let's go. It's wild. Declan was my co-pilot. We had a blast.
Great time.
Yeah, just screaming over that motor at each other the whole time.
Losing our voices.
It's not. I know Finnegan's got like cool radios and his car is pretty quiet. We were straight cut rear end gears, dog box transmission, slammed straight cut gears in that box, plus a NASCAR motor. Earplugs in, just screaming at each other for 4 days straight. Good time. It was, and every time I explain the whole thing to people, I'm like, that sounds miserable. But when you're doing it, it's awesome. It's my best explanation of why you should do drag week.
You don't love sleep?
Yeah. Do you hate sleep? Yes. One of my favorite facts about drag week is that David Freiberger thought about what would be a cool event and came up with the whole idea of the drag and drive, and he doesn't do it. He just shows up and announces and sleeps in a nice hotel and rides around in a nice rental van.
He's onto something.
He might be, yeah, that might be the best version of drag week. I don't know if he's ever done it. I don't know about the early days, but he hasn't done it since, I've been doing it since, I think 19 is the first one I was involved in. He hasn't done it since then. Maybe earlier he did it. I'll have to ask him.
Yep.
So Declan's got the collectors off. Now we can get the transmission out. I don't have to take the rest of the header off, so we're just gonna jam in there. I do want to see what this clutch looks like. So disconnect cut off this little zip tie with the hydraulic line, and then we'll just take these, I think it's 8 bolts out, and pull the trans out of the bell housing. Man, I'm becoming a headlight guy. It's deeply uncool, but man, they work. This headlamp setup, everywhere you look, that's where the light goes. Incredible.
Oh, a headlamp and a mustache, you kind of got a vibe right now.
You think? Like
Yeah,
what?
like
Like some kind of super cool
like a coal miner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not the first part, but like a coal miner.
Fun fact, my great grandpa was a coal miner, and he was in a collapse in a Western PA coal mine for 4 days and got out. 3 or 4 days, yeah. Yeah, Western PA. I lost my mind about hour 4 once I couldn't check my MySpace, you know what I mean? American Powertrain provides you with this cool transmission plug when you buy their T56, which is awesome, because I've been getting rained on. Now we're set. All right, we'll have to go up top, get rid of this very temporary trans tunnel and pull the shifter off, and then we'll get the rest of these. Our plan is to remove the mounts here and the shims and our F1 spec wooden spacer, and lower the transmission so I get the top bolts out. F1 uses wood in their cars too, so it's like we're the same thing. This is basically a Formula 1 car. Also, these bolts were loose. Like I said, we didn't really have, it was a little bit of a rush job to get to the dyno. I blame, Barb's not here. I blame Barb. It feels like him.
I wasn't here that week. So
Same, yeah, it's Barb.
It's gotta be Barb.
Yeah, he's on vacation. Yeah, it's Barb, sure. All right, so I'll pull the very top and the very bottom, and we'll leave the easy to get to ones on, and then put the third hand under it and pull this sucker out. You guys remember when we almost bought a Firebird today?
That's pretty cool.
That was gonna be sweet. I was stoked on it. 400, guy said it would run if you threw a little gas down the throat of the carburetor. 74 with some hood scoops. Do I have a 74 Firebird? Yes, I do. Already have one. And a 79 Camaro. But either one of those is like a fun kick around second gen, and I love second gens. I think they're as cool as it gets. They used to be like, kind of looked at it was like trashy and not like the right year because first gens are so cool, but at this point, I think second gen F bodies are where it's at, especially pre-76 where the bumpers are still small, and they got such a good look to them. And the interior is sick, layout is awesome. They drive better than first gens. They're good cars. I like them a lot. Give me 100 of them. Hey y'all, if you want to support the channel and let people out in the world know that you're watching Stay Tuned, we have been cracking on the merch program, and we've got a ton of new stuff. We've got a full line of koozies. You can keep your sodas and other sodas cool with these things. We've got the Pizza Team one. We're gonna lose the shop, East Coast Speed. All of our classic designs are now available in koozie form. We've also got a line of leather keychains, one with our Fire It Up, which is kind of what we yell every time we get a new car going, or the original Stay Tuned diamond logo. All sorts of fun new stuff. And we've got new t-shirts designed like this coming out every single month. So please grab a piece if you want to support, and we do super, super appreciate it. We are there. A little bit of pry action. I'll kind of catch it there. I'll lift it up. Kind of stick it right
Catch
there.
it up there.
Yeah. And then I'll go down and should lever it out.
Aye.
We're gonna get ready to yank this big old T56 out of here. And then try to catch it. Okay, we're gonna have to let it come down a little more probably. There it goes. Okay. This is a big healthy hunk of aluminum. These things weigh quite a bit. All right, why don't we get rid of the third hand and just beast it down?
Okay.
Okay. Put that camera down there, Kuntz, and give us some lever action here. Gotta pull. You got it.
There we go.
Yeah, that line was our problem. Yep. Okay, nice and easy.
Sit her straight down.
Yep.
Use your back.
All right, there she is. The clutch. Center force. I think it's an organic twin, it looks like. Let's get in there. See what she does. All right, let's pull this trans out of the way. Get this bell housing off.
Right.
Grab an end. Cool. All right, one of the hardest parts about putting a V12 Aston Martin motor into your Fox body Mustang is making the headers work. So we spent a solid week building these things, and apparently they're in the way of our bell housing coming out. So we're gonna remove them. And I think they come out in 3 pieces per side, basically. So we've got some maneuvering to do here, but we'll get them out. And then that thing should drop, and then we'll have a good look at that clutch.
Get a bag.
So what I hope to build with this car is kind of like an American Grand Tourer. I've driven some Aston Martins with the V12. They're awesome. I can't afford to buy one, obviously. This motor fell on my lap. And I thought, what's a good, compact, rear-wheel drive chassis? I could throw it in. It has a ton of aftermarket potential. Fox body jumped right out. It's a Ford at the time. Ford owned Aston Martin. You'll see, like, that's a Ford oil cap, stuff like that. It all just made sense to me. But we are way far away from that dream becoming a reality, just because, you know, we have the drivetrain in, doesn't stay cool, it doesn't charge. The interior is a disaster, the suspension's not on, it leaks. You know, there's quite a bit left to do, but I would like to get there one day. Maybe make the hood go on, that'd be cool. But it's been fun so far. Cool, all right, bell housing coming out. All right, let's pull this down and have a look at her. Like I said, it was definitely throwing sparks out pretty hard on the dyno pulls, which makes me think a couple things. Number one, we had one good pull, 360 horse at the tires, which this thing should make 420 at the motor, maybe 450 like the later ones do. I don't know what the upgrades are. But 360 or 370, whatever it did, was stout. Then we immediately lost like 30 horsepower on the rest of the runs, which if the clutch is slipping, certainly that could happen. So I don't know what we're dealing with, but Declan, grab maybe a 1/2 inch 12 point and we'll pull this sucker apart. All right, we've got the clutch out, well, half of it. It doesn't look like it's even been used, basically. This is first clutch discs. You can see it's got a solid hub, and it is an organic material, but it's not spun. It's not been heated up. That looks brand new. Sorry. I'm gonna grab the mid plate and the other friction disc. Yeah, there's evidence of some heat in the mid plate here, the floater, I believe they call it.
You show it to camera.
Yeah, right here, but it just doesn't look that bad. So it would have spun on this disc. I guess these little indentations are it. None of this looks terrible. And if it's the same, let's go look at the flywheel itself. So I'm looking at the flywheel. There's a couple, like I said, a couple of small, thin hot spots. Maybe it was just not broke in right, which I could understand. I'm gonna look back at the footage. I think there was a significant amount of sparks coming out. I looked at the starter gear just to see if maybe like the Bendix or the spring on the starter wasn't disengaging it. It was just running and sparking. It doesn't seem to be the case. So I think it might just be, it need a quick resurface of the flywheel, and this is not our problem. Not our main problem. All right, we are back in. It is the next day. We've got this motor stripped down. We're about ready to pull it out. Like we said, the clutch didn't look like any kind of a smoking gun, really. If you like the pun there, smoking, forget it. We're gonna pull this motor out and start digging into this thing and see if we can find the problem. Again, low oil pressure, it was making a bunch of noise, and there were sparks blowing out of the bell housing. So not what you want out of a nice, reliable street car. So we're gonna pull it out and see what's good. It is the size of the Titanic, so we pulled off the front water outlet here. We've got the headers out of the way. All the wiring is off, and we're gonna just scoot it forward and pull it out with the gantry crane. No problem. I've got the whole wiring harness pulled off the motor now, and we are going to ease it out of here. Oh, he's free. You want to hold it? This is the hardest I've had to pull on this crane. Got it?
There you go.
Is it fitting?
Yep, you're good. Keep going.
This behemoth is finally freed out.
There you go. You love that.
That will do. All right, let's get this big puppy on an engine stand. Got Declan some sushi.
Let's go.
All right, we've got this big British behemoth up on the stand. And the first thing we're gonna do is drain the oil out and check for shiny materials. Normally when you're panning for gold, that's a good thing. Here, not such a good thing. If we see a bunch of copper and shiny specks that are bearing material, that's bad news. And I'm gonna be honest, I think the motor sound was worse and lower than most people at the dyno seem to think it is. So we might see some bearing material. I don't want to. That would be a real kick in the pants, but let's see what happens.
Let's see.
Drain her out. And then we'll cut open the filter and really dig in there. Get in them pleats. The question is it gonna, oh, nice. All right, so we did clean the top of the oil pan really well, the drain pan, so that if anything does come out, we'll know it's fresh. Because when we were at drag week, a dude handed me a pan to change my oil that had all sorts of metal dust in the bottom of it and basically broke my heart. And then he's like, no, that was in the pan when I gave it to you. And I was like, got it. Oh, we're doing, oh, I like that, Declan.
Nothing metallic-y.
It's gonna be at the bottom.
Yeah.
So just let her drain and go check out your MySpace for a while.
Your second MySpace joke this video.
I know. That's why I did it. Looks clean and crisp. A couple different colors, like a little streaky down here, but that can be like old oil that was in the motor, like gas that gets in, it didn't burn off yet. Could be a lot of different things that don't specifically look like big chunks of metal. So that's the full capacity of the pan drained out. Was this in there? Or is this off to the side?
What? No, that was like clean.
All right, I do see bearing material here. Oh, yeah. Grab a paper towel, maybe. There, a cap for this thing. Some bigger chunks. Nothing insane, but nothing you want to be seeing in here. Little specks everywhere, little flakes, and a couple of bigger flakes in there. Not great. Maybe the start of the sound we heard. Let's dig in some more. Let's pull open the filter. That should be a little bit better information. Pull that filter out, that one. Yeah, drop her down. All right, so oil goes in outside of the center of this thing, runs through these pleats. It's like folded up filter media that catches any garbage, any like contaminants or particles you don't want going through your fresh oil system, and then it comes out the center of these things. So you're going to cut it apart with a filter cutter, which basically anybody that gets serious about hot rod and motor should have. Pull it out, this little can will come off, and then we'll dig into the pleats. So Declan, grab that sucker. It's just like a big can opener. Maybe we'll throw it in the vise. It's usually easier. You can see this says for hot or engine hot test only. So that's the filter that came on the motor when we got it. Probably should have replaced it. I blame Barb. He's not here. Right? It's got to be. Feels like Barb's fault. All right. Got it. Put it on there. Big old. Open it up like a can of tuna. Get a holder flat. Go ahead. The reason you don't cut this open with a Sawzall is you'll just get metal specks everywhere and you'll never be able to tell what's good and what's bad. Title of this episode should be How Screwed Are We? How do they say that in English?
How knackered are
How
we?
snogged are we? Knackered? Yeah, how knackered are we?
How much rubbish is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Is this motor headed for the bin?
It might be. Yep. Okay. Oh boy. There's metal everywhere. There is metal absolutely everywhere. Ugh, this is stuff of nightmares right here. Super rad, exotic car motor. I don't know if I can get another one. I don't know if I can afford another one. I don't even know if I can find another one. And it's clearly hurt. That is, you're talking about bearing material everywhere. Oil pumps definitely shot. I don't know if it got up into the cam towers. I don't know, but this is a bad start, gentlemen. Yes, this is what you would want your pan to look like if it was the 1880s and you were prospecting in California. But this is not how you want your Aston Martin V12 Mustang pan, oil pan to look like. This is bad news bears. Crikey.
This isn't dead.
All right, time to get these valve covers off. Look for any of the other problems under here. Moment of truth. I don't think you're going to see much up here if it's, but let's see. You never know. That's a lot of. Lobes got a little heat in them. The cam lobes, you can see the discoloration. It's not crazy. These have like kind of almost like a 2.3 Pinto. They have this follower rocker lifter thing. So there's a hydraulic lifter in this little channel, and then that levers up this roller that then on the other side of it levers into the spring. Again, nothing crazy. This thing did run off the dyno, so I'm guessing if there's, just from seeing all the metal in there, the damage is going to be underneath these cam caps. You all right, Declan?
Yeah, I gotta.
It's mostly just wear. It's like a little, there's very little miles on this motor. Even the outside was pretty cruddy when we got it. So I think we'll get the front cover off next, and then we'll set this thing to TDC, take about 45 pictures, and take the cams out. I know these motors have some kind of oil pump issue. Something cracks. There's a whole aftermarket in England of companies that kind of bulletproof these things. So if we do wind up trying to get this fixed up, we'll certainly go that avenue and get all the upgraded parts for it. But let's keep going. Again, man, it's clear this motor is brand new. Doesn't matter. It's still hurt. It's coming apart. But there's just no evidence of any sludge, any grime. This aluminum looks brand new under here. Declan's side looks the same. A little bit of wear and tear, just from probably low oil pressure. But that's it. Let's keep on rocking. I'm hoping these are Ford parts, these rollers, so we can replace those in the lifters easily. A lot of times you get a bunch of junk in your motor. These lifters have little ports in them, and they'll get some of that sand and some of that garbage in them, and they won't work properly. All right, front cover coming off. And so every pulley, this whole front end is one big cast piece. So we gotta get that off. So we'll take anything that mounts through it off, which is just everything, just absolutely everything. All right, so I don't know if I can get the front cover off. I'm gonna just loosen the oil panel, drop down, and allow us to get this front cover off that is hiding 4 big, beautiful camshafts, and a bunch of sprockets, and all sorts of fancy stuff in there.
There's 2 bolts right here. Do you think just gotta drop these?
Yeah, so usually this is a dowel. It has to slide out, and if this is crammed up against it, it won't do it. So I'm just gonna take them all out a turn, or a couple of turns, and then it'll drop down, and then we can pop it out.
There you go.
If you're ever doing an oil pump or something in a car, then you got to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And usually you do 1 turn in the back, a bunch more in the front, and it'll just lay down enough in the front to let it come out. All right, we're about to get this timing cover off. I just got a call and a text from the guy with that blue Firebird. I explained to him we couldn't come pick it up. It's 2 hours away. My truck broke down last night. It's back in the body shop. He said this morning, hey man, I'm actually getting another Camaro. Do you want me to bring the Firebird out to you? And I was like, yeah man, that'd be super cool, and I'm very interested and I'd super appreciate it, but I'm not gonna commit to buying it until I see the car, which he didn't love. I'm a little maybe more old school. I know a lot of internet car buying now is you see a couple pictures and you buy it, and whatever shows up, shows up. But basically, I said, I'm very interested. I'm not going to commit to buying it, but I plan on buying it, and if I don't buy it, I'll give you some money for gas and your time, which I think is fair. And then he came back and said, what more do you need to be able to ready to buy it now to commit? He's like, I'm not bringing it unless you're buying it. I said, send me pictures of the quarter panels, because they're real, not great pics, a little fuzzy, and I think there's maybe a sheet metal square patch screwed in, painted over, and some pictures of the interior, because I think it's made mostly out of duct tape. And then he never responded. So I think that one is probably off the table for now. Our Firebird search will continue. Really any second gen S-bodies. Firebirds, Trans Ams, Camaros, whatever you got. All right. All right, that looks mostly like a Ford V8, like a Coyote. That's not the end of the world. Make that work. Get that sucker squared up. I just pulled off this tone ring. That goes to the crank sensor to tell you, give the computer, tell it where it is and how fast it's spinning. This is the oil pump right on the front of the crank, like an LS motor, like a Coyote. That's the pickup down there I can see, which is gigantic. And then it feeds oil up. I think there's either gears in there that crack, similar to an early Coyote. I don't know what the whole problem is, but right now we're just investigating what happened to it. So we're gonna spin it around. So all 4 of these little marks line up somewhere. I'm assuming straight out. But let's start spinning the crank over. Declan's gonna pull the number 1 plug out and we'll get it to TDC. And we'll have some idea where it all goes. You can see how minty this thing is. There's no wear really on the guides. The aluminum in here looks, it's not even stained. So it is an older motor, probably 20 years at this point, or a little more. And the outside was grimy, it was sitting. But the inside looks minty. Obviously we've got our issues, but I'm leaning towards trying to get it fixed.
Not that 20 years old. Declan.
Not at 20 years old, you
no,
pervert.
not at all.
Is that what you were saying? Going down? Coming up?
Coming back up, I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
We should be in the ballpark, maybe there. Let me see where the
That's-
cams are. Is that pretty close?
Maybe a little more. Yeah, that's still went up.
Okay. Still?
Yep. Now it's going down.
Okay, let's bring it back. Okay, so now that mark is here. We should put this here. Essentially, we should put our mark pretty close to where I think we're supposed to be. All right, so maybe we weren't wrong. Totally, we totally knew what we were doing there. It's just been a while since I've looked at a V12 Aston Martin motor. Remember that they number them 3 different ways depending on what year it is, and then they changed the firing order, even though I don't think they physically changed anything, but the numbers changed because they renumbered the cylinders, which is all fun stuff. Cool, all right, I rolled it around again just to walk through intake, compression, power, and exhaust strokes. It looks right. I think this is TDC. I'm pretty confident. It's just that these are kind of in all these haphazard directions, the little timing marks on the cams, but I'm just going to take a million pictures and we'll get it right. Obviously, we'll do our best to find out some kind of guide on the internet anyway, how to put it back together, but I don't think it's going to be much harder than like a Coyote or anything like that. So we'll pull off the tensioners, pull the chains off, and then pull 1 or 2 caps. I don't think we're going to pull the cams out entirely. Look for any kind of oil damage from like little fragments getting. These are all oil fed through the base of the head, through like the base perch. We'll see if there's anything wrong with that, and then we'll get ready to pull these heads off. Yep. If you like this. Just kidding. God, that stinks. Not worth it. Not worth the joke.
The good news is the joke was hilarious.
Did you like it?
Cracked up.
Stupid. So their front marks are all over the place, but if you go to the back, these are both lined up directly in line with some kind of casting mark, so that feels good. That feels like something. All right, so I've got to take these 45 caps off kind of evenly. Take them off a little bit at a time so the cam can move up in a level fashion, because you do not want to like kind of jam it or get it crooked in these little perches. So take your time. The issue is that some of them are under intense valve spring tension and some of them are not. So you really do just want to give them all half a turn, come back, work your way in or out, and then I'm going to pull the camshaft out, or one of them. So we've got the camshafts out of this thing. Now we can inspect the cam carriers. These little saddles that are cast right into the head are what the camshaft rides on. And when you use Star for oil or a bunch of junk comes through here, it'll chew them up very easily. It's pretty soft. So I'm looking, I see a couple like little striations in the back. That's the worst of it. It's not the end of the world. That can probably be polished up. Cams look great. Same kind of thing, a tiny mark on them here and there on where the caps are and what they ride in. Generally good. These are billet, it seems like, which is sick. If you look really closely, you can actually see where they welded the 2 Ford V6s together. Just kidding, this is not 2 V6s welded together like people think. This is the deal. Aston cast this whole thing, they designed a V12, but at the time they were owned by Ford and influenced with and they had access to their technical catalog. So what they did do is use the valves and essentially I think the cylinder head shape from the Ford V6. The exhaust ports are the same. They've got their own intakes. This little cam follower, which there's, 48 of them, I would assume this is a Ford part. This looks very similar to what they used to run on like the Pinto single overhead cam 2.3s. So they're here, like if you can show you, that is a little hydraulic lifter. Yep. So each cylinder has 4 of these, 4 little lifters, this kind of roller rocker. It's really like a cam follower. And then that leverages down the valve spring there. So nothing looks terrible. These all roll nicely. Haven't checked all 48 yet, but take my word for it. Yeah, they're good. Oh. Now that doesn't move, it just gets a little cushion of oil to keep it up a little bit. Take the slack out. And then this goes here. And then when the cam pushes down, it opens the valve down there. They all feel good, Declan?
Yeah.
Give them a little DJ fingers. Squeak on. Yeah, good. All right, these don't necessarily need to go back in their things. Let's just pull them out of the way. And now I'm gonna pull these heads off this bad boy and look for any more damage. And then, so we know we've got rod bearing and main bearing damage. A little bit of issue with the head here. Cams look savable. Somebody just bought a t-shirt. I appreciate you. That's what that little ka-ching sound is. Maybe one of the new hats. I don't know. They're going fast. I don't know if there's any left. But,
Can I get one?
yeah, you can get one. Gotta ask Barb.
I gotta order one?
He's out of town. Save all these puppies, and then we'll get the push rods out of it. Do you see those in there?
Push rods?
Yeah. There's no push rods, Declan.
Declan.
I was confused.
The tips of these do look like push rods, so in his defense, like if you had said that, that's pretty push rod like. All right, let's get these heads off and see what we're dealing with. Got Finnegan like that one time. Won't let me forget about it. All right, I'm starting to relieve the tension on these head bolts. Same thing, I'm gonna work my way out to in. Get this sucker apart. Garf. Declan is pulling the plugs out.
Yeah, trying
I'm
not
swinging.
to get hit.
And protecting his neck over here. So this is a 5.9 liter out of 12 cylinders. And I've had a bunch of 5.9 liter out of 6-cylinder Cummins motors. I'm excited to see how big these pistons are. I feel like they're probably going to be adorable. You want to bag these up?
Yeah.
They might be hardened and reusable. And they might be torque to yield and not. Let's find out. Let's keep holding them either way.
Big bag.
All this stuff looks very, very expensive. Everything that doesn't say Ford on it, I think it's pretty pricey. All right, so you should definitely, and I mean definitely, not leave these 2 bolts in here holding the whole head down once you've relieved the stress of them that are at the end, putting probably some undue stress on holding everything together, but it didn't break and the head didn't crack. Yeah, grab those 2, Declan. I believe now I'll be able to get this head off. At least that one's not fully relaxed yet. Show that thing his boss. Yeah. Somehow I feel like it's Barb's fault. Wasn't he supposed to send us a list of how to do this? He was gonna send us links to like British operating manuals.
Mm-hmm. He's distracted.
Yeah. Down in Nashville. Just doing open mics down there. Just trying to make it big on the.
Doing Waylon Jennings covers.
Yeah. No, he's down there he's just singing Jolene. That's his big hit. Boy. That's more like it. I don't see anything bad in these cylinder heads. More carbon than you would think. As I'm remembering now, at one point this motor was stuck from sitting. That might be what eventually led to our bearing problems. There's more carbon on these exhaust valves than I would think, but nothing crazy. Actually, those are the intake valves. not blowing my mind. That could be to like all these wonky startup mixtures we had. I was running super fat, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll measure it to see if it's warped, but it didn't get really hot, so I think we might be in business with saving these heads. Head gasket looks intact. No indication that it was losing coolant or pressurizing anything. It shouldn't be pressurizing. Pistons aren't as small as I thought. I bet it's pretty short stroke. Thanks for all those texts. There were these 2 bolts in the front I was telling you about. I guess we got those. Ooh. You got them both out?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
And we should be free. I don't know how wonky the pickup is. Sit out.
There you go.
Okay. Oh yeah, some bigger chunks in the bottom there. See? There's a bunch of these in here. That's really ground up bearings.
Yeah, there's a few.
Maybe
chunks
oil
in the
pump
pickup.
gears. Nothing you want inside your engine, moving around. What's the word?
There's definitely a few chunks in this pickup.
All right, take that off. We're gonna flip this sucker over
Where's that handle?
and see, you know, how bad some of these rod bearings are. I will check the rearmost one. This is the oil pump. So if it was galling up or, you know, not delivering the amount of flow it should have, the worst one will be the rearmost piston. Let's see what she looks like first. Look at this. This is the biggest pickup I've ever seen in my life, dude. For a motor that was definitely starving for oil. It wasn't because of lack of the fire hose oil pickup.
Yep.
So as we said, this was like an early test motor, and everything's looked pretty production ready, but there's some kind of really cobbled together welding on this stay for the pickup. And it's also impossible to get a socket on it. Grab an 8, Declan, and take the front 2 out.
8 mil.
It's weird, it's not like an overly complicated motor. It's obviously got some good parts. Got this, it has a girdle for the mains, which is always makes stuff super rigid. It's obviously got all those valves, but and billet cams, but they're controlled in a normal way. There's not even any VVTi or variable cam timing. So, you know, it sounds like a V12 with 48 valves would be somewhat intimidating, but it seems to be put together pretty straightforward. We just gotta figure out what we can do about it now and how we don't let this happen to it again. I'm thinking a couple things happen. This motor was stuck when we got it. It didn't want to turn. So if they kind of corrode together and you beat them free, which is what we did, sometimes some of the bearing material will get loose, make it hard for the thing to run right. I think we threw a lot of timing at it, the dyno, pretty quickly. When the piston's coming up and you've got a bunch of timing in it and it's the fire, you know, the explosion's going off and forcing it back down if it's not up there yet. It'll basically, the only thing that can take all that force so that the piston can keep going up and turn over is the bearings, that, you know, the elbow down there. So that you can, is what they call beat the bearings out of something by throwing too much timing at it. So apparently this is a problematic oil pump that does have some issues with it. There are some fixes out there. So if we get this thing re-ringed, re-bearinged, polish the crank or whatever it needs, leave the heads basically alone, new oil pump, get it back together, I think we can save this motor, I think. But it's definitely taken a beating, and it's certainly not going back in the car the way it is. All right, this cast windage tray is coming off. Doesn't look too bad. Give that a good quick something. I'm gonna pull this cap off, and we'll see what it looks like. The whole top end on it does still spin pretty well, but let's get one of these off. All right, there it goes. Cap's coming off. Pull the bearing out.
Yep.
All right, yeah, it's definitely taking some damage here. I think we definitely chewed up that oil pump. This is not a copper style. It's worn through the outer coating, which is what you don't want. Definitely beating this down, so I'm not, you know, the crank doesn't look terrible. I can't feel any scratches in it with my finger. That's good stuff. Also pulled the main cap. Bearing isn't perfect, but it's close. We've dug through this whole motor. I think it's definitely hurt. We knew that coming in. I think it's salvageable. I don't know what it costs to rebuild versus trying to find one of these things. I don't know if we could find it. I don't know if we could afford it if we did find one. But I know I want to keep going with this project. I love this idea. I think we kind of thrashed and like skipped a lot of important stuff. Like we didn't get the fans running right. We didn't get it charging. We didn't have the break-in miles on it. I want to come back to this project and do it right. I think first thing we'll do is talk to an engine builder and see what it would cost to get this fixed up, re-ringed, new bearings, polish the crank, new oil pump with whatever, you know, next generation modifications are there to fix any issues with it. And then get some dowel pins for the trans and fix the pinion seal and come back to this thing and make it the same level of build as like our 55 or the Firebird and just make it a real decent car. And then we might have something really cool here. I'm pumped. You know, we did find all this carnage, but it's not the end of the world. That's going to be it for this video. I'm still excited about this project. It's a total disaster right now, but we're going to keep going with this. I just can't let it go. Thanks for watching. That's it for this week. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week. And it will be Drag Week Part 1, and it's a doozy.
Let's go.